There's one other topic I wanted to talk to you about, but let me just quickly put a button.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And
Ha ha ha, and a ho ho ho, and a couple of ha ha ha's. That's how we laughed the day away as the Democrat border czar. Hey everyone, welcome to another Thursday Thoughts. This week, Kamala Harris launched her campaign for president, and the media went nuts. The excitement is electric, which is helpful because it'll take a lot of electricity to power the computers constantly changing and editing her history. Was she border czar or not? Well,
Vice President Harris was not a border czar.
Meantime, Vice President and border czar Kamala Harris facing some backlash.
What he said about Harris and immigration was not true. She was never appointed border czar.
And this will be her first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border region since she was appointed as the border czar by President Biden.
People are going to have to counter the misinformation. You already hear folks talking about the border czar. She wasn't the border czar.
President Biden tapped Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, to be the border czar.
Now, she wasn't the border czar. That's what Republicans labeled her.
They were very critical of Kamala Harris, especially in her role as border czar.
Now what she's up against is folks lying about her border record, calling her a border czar.
Kamala Harris, who was appointed as the border czar.
The Biden team didn't declare her the border czar. They wanted her to work on kind of the root causes of immigration.
There has been so much criticism against Kamala Harris. You know, she was the border czar.
Calling her sort of the border czar, which wasn't necessarily the case.
So the border, if they weren't planning to address it in a major way, do not make her your border czar. She met with some of the Northern Triangle countries, but nothing has effectively changed.
yes, she was, but no, she is not. Get used to these tactics. It's going to be happening a lot. Like GovTrack, removing and changing Harris's senator rating on their site. We retracted our single-year legislator report cards after warning about their unreliability. Here's the short version. We retracted the legislator rate rankings that we published for 2013, 2015, 2017, and 2019, including a ranking of then Senator Kamala Harris as the most liberal senator in 2019. A newer ranking that we published in 2021 says she was the leftmost Democratic senator. Catch the difference? Right-wing media didn't like it. We were forthright about the limitations of the analysis in 2020. Yeah, take that, right-wingers. She's not the most liberal senator. She's just the farthest left Democratic senator. You can't even explain the correction you made after a warning without sounding like an idiot. That's like saying you changed the name from red crayon to the farthest left color on the visible spectrum crayon. So why are they covering up how bad she is? Because Harris was an unpopular candidate for president in 2020, and now she's the only hope to save democracy. Just like Biden kept saying, but more on him later. She was so unpopular that she dropped out before Iowa, mostly because she got fact-stomped by Tulsi Gabbard.
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting Black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana.
Have you ever smoked?
I have.
Okay. Like
and I inhale. I did inhale. It was a long time ago.
She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place. That impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris, your response.
And even Harris herself seems to rewrite history by claiming Trump will not debate her, which they agreed upon.
You may have noticed. So last week, you may have seen, he pulled out of the debate in September he had previously agreed to. So here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about that.
Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice.
So let's pick the dates, Donald.
Donald Trump agreed to 2 debates with Joe Biden. He dropped out. Those minutes don't roll over. So what really caused Joe's sudden decision to drop out? Is this a possibility? Did Kamala Harris and others threaten Joe with the 25th Amendment to remove him from office, his only other choice being to drop out and step aside? Let that sink in. She thought she could invoke the 25th Amendment and have Joe Biden removed from the presidency. And after his performance in the debate, I don't think anyone would argue that at all. But she didn't. It was a bluff to gain power, leaving our country with a president in office who everyone knows is not capable of performing his duties. And I say bluff because she doesn't want the Oval Office now while campaigning. It would expose her in the light for everyone to see how bad she would be and why she should have never been there in the first place. She is currently campaigning on what she will do in her first 100 days in office. Apparently, she forgot that she is currently vice president and could have been doing things for the past 4 years. But let's hear it straight from Joe's mouth. Why did he leave?
My fellow Americans, I'm speaking to you tonight from behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office. In this sacred space, I'm surrounded by portraits.
Wait, did Biden have a stroke? His S's have a TH sound, like he has a lisp. Listen again.
My fellow Americans, I'm speaking to you tonight from behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office. In this sacred space, I'm surrounded by portraits.
Okay, that aside, let's hit some main points where he describes why he left and compare it to what he has said just days ago.
When you elected me to this office, I promised to always level with you, to tell you the truth. The truth. The sacred cause of this country is larger than any one of us. Those of us who cherish that cause cherish it so much. A cause of American democracy itself must unite to protect it. You know, in recent weeks, it's become clear to me I need to unite my party in this critical endeavor.
Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi come down and say, we're worried that if you stay in the race, we're going to lose the House and the Senate. How will you respond?
I go into detail with them. I've spoken to all of them in detail, including Jim Clyburn. Every one of them. They all said I should stay in the race. Stay in the race. No one said, none of the people said I should leave.
But if they do?
Well, it's like, they're not going to do that.
You sure?
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Look, I mean, if the Lord Almighty came down and said, Joe, get out of the race, I'll get out of the race. The Lord Almighty's not coming down. I believe my record as president, my leadership in the world, my vision for America's future, all merited a second term. But nothing can come in the way of saving our democracy. That includes personal ambition. So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation.
Is it worth the risk?
I don't think anybody's more qualified to be president or win this race than me.
You know, the heart of your case against Donald Trump is that he's only out for himself, putting his personal interest ahead of the national interest. How do you respond to critics who say that by staying in the race, you're doing the same thing?
Oh, come on. Well, I don't think those critics know what they're talking about.
They're just wrong?
It's wrong. Free for the years ahead. Folks, I give you my word as a Biden, I would not be running again if I didn't believe with all my heart and soul I can do this job. Because quite frankly, the stakes are too high. The stakes are too high. Donald Trump is a genuine threat to this nation. He's a threat to our freedom. He's a threat to our democracy. He's literally a threat for everything America stands for. We deserve to be treated equally throughout our lives. We've never fully lived up to it. I'll be damned in the year 2024, just 2 years before the 250th anniversary of our Declaration of Independence, that I'll let Donald Trump walk away from it. You know, I will keep working to ensure America remains strong, secure, and the leader of the free world. I'm the first president in this century to report to the American people that the United States is not at war anywhere in the world. We'll keep rallying a coalition of proud nations to stop Putin from taking over Ukraine, doing more damage. We'll keep NATO stronger, and I'll make it more powerful and more united than any time in all of our history. God bless you all. May God protect our troops. Thank you.
Oh, sure I had my thought, but I was also doing a hell of a lot of other things, like wars around the world, like keeping NATO together, like working, anyway.
Wait, Joe, we're not at war anywhere in the world, but we'll rally NATO and expand it? And may God protect our troops? From what? You just said we're not at war. All right, enough connections for this week. I still can't follow Joe's thought process to suddenly drop out of the race, given all the statements he made just days before. He gets COVID, disappears for a few days, and drops out of the race with a snapshot of a letter on Twitter announcing he's decided to step aside. I think I already have next week's video idea ready to go. Analyzing Biden video clips to see how his speech pattern seems to have changed since the debate. Click like if you like this video, click subscribe if you'd like to see more, and click the bell if you'd like to know when new videos come out. You might not like my analyses or hypotheses, but what if I'm right?